Welcome to the Labyrinthine Cliffs. It's finally time for the Festival of the Four Winds. Now, on this channel, I discuss the factions that design and build the worlds we explore in our games, movies, and stories. If you want to see more of that, hit subscribe. I've discussed the Zephrites on this channel before, but only briefly. Today, we'll dive a bit deeper and talk all about their history, lore, and tech. Oh, and we'll have some fun at the festival as well. As a warning, this video contains spoilers for the story of Guild Wars 2. Alright, let's get into it. Well, it's that time of year again, Tyrians. The Festival of the Four Winds has begun. It's time to head over to the Labyrinthine Cliffs to enjoy the sun, the sand, and the many chances to gain some rewards. There are all kinds of events to participate in. Interesting places to explore, new friends to make, and relaxing boat tours to while away your time if you're into that. Remember, it's all fun and games, as long as no one falls to their death. What is the Festival of the Four Winds? When did it start? And why can we only venture to the cliffs when it's on? Well, all good questions. I intend to answer them for you today. It all started with a group we know as the Zephrites. They've played a major part in the history of Tyria over the years, especially prior to the Pact's fight against Mordramoth. After surviving several calamities themselves, their mastery of disguise has made them feel right at home. The festival first took place as a result of trade with Lion's Arch, before it became an annual fixture here, south of the Deldrimor lands. So grab yourself a fancy drink, let the breeze coming down from the Thunderhead Peaks cool the sun-cooked sand at your feet, and watch out for falling adventurers. Our story begins long ago, when the world and the dragon cycle were both very different. Long before the current era, before ore rose with the awakening of Zhaitan, in the time when the dwarves held kingdoms across Tyria, the dragon Glint, scion of Kralkatorrik, began her master's work. It was not until those beings, known as the Forgotten, used old magic to purify her of her master's corruption, that she began to work against him. Today, Glint is known as a champion of the light, and her work in maintaining the balance, as well as what remains of her knowledge after she fell in battle, has aided the people of Tyria against the corruption of the dragons greatly. Her own scions, Vlast and Orine, aided the forces of the Pact against rogue gods and evil dragons alike. Earlier though, when she had more recently been freed from her master's corruption, she had, as her protectors, the Dwarven Brotherhood of the Dragon. When the Rite of the Great Dwarf was enacted, calling all dwarves beneath the earth to keep the destroyers at bay, the conservation of Glint and her legacy passed to a group of Canthan and Elonian humans, known as the Zephrites. Some among them went on to become exalted, and would raise her scions in Terrier. Here, Orine's egg would later be kept safe for a short time. Glint worked with her followers to develop crystals, which would later go on to play a part in many of the magical and technological developments still in use today. Following Glint's death, her Zephrite followers sought to secure the magic within her remains. They soon discovered that they were able to access the aspects of the sun, the wind, and the lightning. Using their newfound magic, they built the Zephyr Sanctum, a magnificent floating city. They lived in peace and sought out trade with others. It was at this time that they first docked at the Labyrinthine Cliffs to attend the Bazaar of the Four Winds. They eventually negotiated trade deals with the city of Lion's Arch. The Zephrites then turned to the west. Their planned destination was, and remains, unknown, though events since offer some clues that perhaps their destination was Terrier. They did not, however, complete their journey as expected. As a result of treachery during passage over Maguma, their Zephyr Sanctum crashed in Drytop, where some survivors remain today. At Drytop, we're given the ability to use the power of the aspects in use by the Zephrites to navigate the crash site. This takes practice. Their Master of Peace, however, continued on the journey, bearing an artifact of some importance. Though unknown at the time to outsiders, it was likely the reason for the attack. It would turn out to be Orine's egg, Glint's youngest scion and sister to Vlast. The Zephrites had been protecting it, as they vowed to do. After many trials and tests, changing of hands, and near catastrophic encounters, the egg came to Terrier, where it was kept safe for a short time by the Exalted. The Exalted would test the commander of the Pact to gauge their worthiness, and eventually their bond with Orine would manifest. That is perhaps a story for another time, though. Now, in need of resettlement, the Zephrites, with the help of the people of Lion's Arch, return annually to the Labyrinthine Cliffs to hold the Festival of the Four Winds. Funds raised through events and trade are put toward resettlement for the remaining Zephrites. The cliffs also act as a place where they can come to maintain their ties to their old way of life and keep their cultures alive. The first Zephrites were from Cantha and Elona. Aspects of both cultures are represented in modern Zephrite art, technology, and practice. Design motifs that are recognizably Canthan and Elonian are obvious in their decoration and styles of dress, as well as in their methods of construction. Vessels that ply the waters near the Labyrinthine Cliffs are reminiscent of the styles of boats often found traveling from Xingjie to Keining, and the carved designs on furniture and flags are reminiscent of sweeping desert sands or silver fish scales. The Zephrites have always been a collective of many cultures, though, and while Canthan and Elonian themes tend to dominate, many others have since joined them. They're inclusive to other races as well. They're willing to admit into their ranks those who are open to their ideas and values. Zephrites are pacifists. They believe in maintaining peaceful relations and strengthening bonds through mutual understanding and cultural and economic exchange. They are largely nomadic, with semi-permanent settlements usually existing by accident, such as with those near the remains of the crashed Zephyr Sanctum. They're led by a group of 3 masters, each representing one of the 3 aspects: sun, wind, and lightning. Above the aspect masters is the Master of Peace, who seems to have the final say on any decisions made. Really, their form of government is something of a mystery. Beyond their system of masters, not much is known by outsiders. The Zephrites honor their values and keep their culture, often in the form of song. They sing a lament for the dead at times of mourning, and their history and journey is described in their Zephrite song. It appears that they retain something of a religious reference for Glint, though whether this is well developed enough to really be considered a religion is questionable. Regardless, her memory lives on in their use of aspect magic and crystals, by which it's channeled. The Zephrites mastered the air long ago, though not through the use of technology and science, as with the Char and their airships. Much of the power of the Zephrites comes instead from their mastery of the 3 elemental aspects: sun, wind, and lightning. Their knowledge of growing crystals has allowed them to store the power of these aspects and use them at will. By accessing these specially charged crystals, anyone can use the magic of the aspect contained within. Lightning crystals grant the ability to tether oneself to a specific location and pull oneself forward. Those who harness the aspect of the wind can ride the currents of air to leap to great heights, accessing places that would be difficult to reach. And crystals empowered with the aspect of the sun grant the ability to dash forward at the speed of light, bypassing obstacles. For the Zephrites, the use of the aspects is not just a matter of spells and tricks. These powers are woven into their clothes and practical items as well. While of little use to the pacifist Zephrites, weapons that harness the aspects show captured lightning, wind, and fire in their construction. The methods by which they build are of interest as well, lashing together wooden beams and weaving reeds, grasses, and nets into floors high up into the cliffs. They span the distances between buildings with narrow bridges and dangerous-looking platforms. The danger, of course, is perceived by those unused to the powers of the Zephrites, who are able to navigate these obstacles with ease. Outsiders require practice, which makes the Festival of the 4 Winds attractive to those looking to test their skills with the aspects. The festival is a marvel of magic and a testament to the Zephrites' resilience, but it was born out of tragedy. The tale of the Zephyr Sanctum's crash is a sad one, and many lives were lost. All of it through the actions of a Sylvari known as Erin. Now, those familiar with the events surrounding the rise of Mordramoth in the jungle may recognize in the story a familiar theme. Mordramoth was known to corrupt Sylvari, and of course the Nightmare Court were involved in these events to some degree as well. Erin began to change during the journey over Maguma, and before he could be stopped, set off a series of explosions on the Sanctum that brought it down. When confronted after the crash, he fought alongside several Mordrim, which also lends itself to the idea that he'd been corrupted by the dragon's influence during the voyage. He also revealed his intention to obtain from the Master of Peace an item under his protection, which is likely to have been Oreen's egg. He also possessed a note on his person, which it is believed hinted at the coming attack on the World Tree by the Mordrim. The truth will likely remain unknown, though regardless of the reason, the remains of the Sanctum lay strewn across the region of Drytop in the Silver Wastes, where many survivors have created settlements. It is, however, out of catastrophe that alliances are born, and out of such an event was born a friendship between the Zephrites and the people of Lion's Arch that has seen both peoples offering aid to one another. Lion's Arch has stood as a bastion of trade and cultural exchange for generations. Also, piracy. Regardless of its less than reputable aspects, it's been a site of events of historic significance. The Zephrites had negotiated a trade deal with Lion's Arch through Captain Ellen Keel of the Captain's Council. When the events surrounding the rise of Scarlet Briar took place and Lion's Arch was devastated by her attack, the Zephrites pledged to help the ailing city. The Festival of the Four Winds drew interest from across the lands, and the Zephrites honored Lion's Arch by donating much of the income of the event to the rebuilding effort. It was not long thereafter, this show of goodwill and kindness, that the Zephrites began their journey west, which would end with the destruction of their sanctum. Their kindness to the people of Lion's Arch formed a strong bond between them, and now, as mentioned previously, the festival is dedicated to the resettlement of the lost Zephrite people. The very first Bazaar of the Four Winds took place much earlier in the year. This was prior to either the destruction of Lion's Arch or the Zephyr Sanctum. Now the festival is open later in the year, after Dragon Bash, near to the close of the summer season. The event mostly takes place in the Labyrinthine Cliffs south of the Thunderhead Peaks, but there are some events which occur within the Crown Pavilion in Divinity's Reach as well. To get to the cliffs, we have to either sail or fly from Lion's Arch, or take the services of one of the pilots, offering trips by air from each capital city. By air, we will arrive at the sky docks on the cliffs high above the sea, or at the bazaar docks if we choose to sail. We'll find unique merchants, many selling Zephyr supply boxes in exchange for crafting materials. These contain many things, including more materials, special festival items, and tokens we can use at vendors. There are vendors who sell weapons, armor, and decorations for our homestead, which are related to the festival. The prices can be pretty high, and in some cases, we'll need favors of the festival, which can only be obtained by combining items we gain from completing events. And of course, what would a celebration in Tyria be without the ghost of Drubert? Only, instead of just begging for coins, he's willing to sell us mystery bags, which are, well, mostly full of junk, but you never know. Then there are the events. We can take part in several races, including a skiff race, a skimmer race, and a race where we're turned into Dolyaks and have to run an obstacle course. There's a treasure hunt in 3 parts, where we have to collect as much treasure as we can in a set amount of time, in about 3 rounds each from around different areas of the cliffs. The treasure can be spent at a merchant near the beach or hoarded in your inventory until next year, which is more likely. Periodically, a huge flame effigy will appear near the sky docks and must be doused with water balloons before it can be attacked. It has to be defeated before it reaches the end of its walk. There are also numerous fishing competitions to take part in as well. The Crown Pavilion in Divinity's Reach hosts the Boss Blitz, where a number of powerful enemies must be defeated in a set amount of time. There's also a mount race that takes place during the festival time. There are tons of rewards to claim, and crowds of Tyrians come to see the sights, more and more every year, in fact. So, summer's winding down, we've finally shaken off our Dragon Bash hangover, and suddenly, the invite comes in the mail. It's time for the annual Festival of the Four Winds. We take the ship from Lion's Arch to the Labyrinthine Cliffs and see the colorful flags and kites dancing in the wind. We hear the creaking of wood and ropes as the platform, bridges, and buildings sway high above, and the shouting and murmuring of jubilant crowds gathered on the docks below fills us with excitement. We hear the calling of merchants selling items only available here and now. We rush to hunt for treasure and find tokens to trade. We can take part in the races or fight the monstrous effigies. There's so much to do and so much to see. There's no way we can do it all before the cliffs shut and we have to wait another year. Warm sun, cool mountain breezes, waves lapping at the shore await. The sight of flags flapping high up fills the cliffs with color. Ships sail the calm waters, sails drifting on the horizon. Crystals filled with power give us the ability to navigate the twisting, rising maze among the mountains, and danger awaits us below if we miss our mark. The Labyrinthine Cliffs are vibrant and filled with life this time of year. This is the Festival of the Four Winds. Make sure you're steady on your feet and watch out for sharks. I hope you enjoy your time at the festival this year, and make sure to thank your airship pilots as you disembark. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate everyone who does, especially if you stick around to the end. If you like the video, please hit like. It'd really help out. And if you find yourself beneath the feet of a giant flame effigy, grab some water balloons. Every little bit helps. If you want to discuss the topic, tell me about your adventures at the festival, or think I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. Oh, and before you go, I want to give a shout out to my patrons who help support the channel. Our $10 patrons Watuki at the artisan level. If you want to get your name in the credits, head on over and sign up. The Patreon link is in the description. You'll get access to an exclusive Discord and some exclusive art and stories that you can use or discuss and contribute to. And remember, if you don't want to summon a fire imp, avoid reading from the unholy tome, no matter how tempting it might be. Alright, thank you all. Bye, Internet.